Hey guys, Prowl 1701 here, and today we're going to talk about the Children in Need special for 2023 with the 14th Doctor ending up on Skaro. And my opinion and thoughts on this short is gonna vary drastically depending on how you look at it. If you take this as a one-off Children in Need skit, not canon, just something for fun, I find it very enjoyable and very amusing, with the 14th Doctor ending up on Skaro just a bit before Genesis, where work on the M3 has already been largely completed, it looks like, and Davros has not had his accident yet. Now, on one hand, it is very nice to see Julian Bleach without his makeup on in the role. His voice is perfect there. He very much sounds like Davros. He's got Davros's mannerisms down and speech patterns down very well. I love the little bit in there where you hear Niter on the intercom. And I don't know if that's actually a bit with Peter Miles or if that's just someone they got to sound like Peter Miles. But it was nice that they had Niter in the story. The guy playing the guy kind of keeping an eye on the Khaled, I know he's a comedian actor. He does a good job in this. Tennant's fine. I mean, he has the little bit in there where he's like, 60 minutes ago, I was the brilliant, woman. And, of course, they had to throw that in there because, of course, they did. But then again, David and Jodie are friends, so I could see that as well. But as a one-off, it has some humorous bits in there with when he's like, Dalek, yes, exterminate, yeah, Genesis of the yeah, no, and the bit with the plunger. If you're taking it as a tongue-in-cheek, humorous skit, it's pretty funny, pretty enjoyable. However, if you try to accept it as canon, it falls apart. It's complete garbage. It does not make any sense as canon. First off, I believe Big Finish has already explored Davros's origins, I think, and how he got injured in Davros. I never listened to it, but my understanding is Big Finish has touched on that before. Also, it makes more sense to me for Davros's injuries to have happened sooner, like before work started on the Dalek stuff, because I always figured his physical injuries are part of what led to his mental trauma and made him what he is, to create the Daleks and to make the Daleks kind of in his own image, so to speak. That makes way more sense to me. And treating Genesis as a comedy is kind of insulting to Genesis, to the actual Genesis of the Daleks. Like, treating this as canon would be kind of a slap in the face to Genesis to me, which I know is not Russell's intention, because I know Russell loves classic Who. But the original Genesis is such a masterpiece, and it is such a masterpiece because of some of the dark themes it deals with. There's never a more obvious parallel between the Daleks and the Nazis as there are in Genesis. And this treats it as a comedy, because we all know the Nazis were funny people, right? Everybody thought the Nazis were hilarious. So it feels disingenuous to the source material, being Genesis, to treat this as canon. I would be highly offended of this as canon. And again, it just doesn't work. The bit with the plunger being in there, it's treated too comedically for me to take it seriously as canon. So if this is meant to be canon, then it's absolute rubbish and it fails. And I just don't know. It's garbage as canon. But again, as just a one-off Children in Need sketch, something that's meant to be humorous and entertaining, it's fun. It's fun. As long as I don't have to accept it as canon, I enjoy it. But if you try to force it into, even the skit acknowledges that when it mentions, the threads of canon are rupturing. Exactly. Like the skit is self-aware of that. And so as long as I don't have to accept it as canon, because I honestly feel like Davros's accident happened way before the Daleks. Also, the Dalek in there feels a little too far along. Like further along than it was when we actually first see it as the M3. So it doesn't quite line up time-wise and make sense. So as long as I'm not having to accept it as canon, I'm fine with it. It's a fun little one-off. And the performances are fine. Julian's great as a pre-Davros, a pre-injury Davros, a Khaled Davros. And then the other guy's great in his role, and Tennant's great too. So as long as I'm treating it as a one-off, I enjoy it. If I'm having to accept it as canon, I think it's absolute rubbish. So that's my thoughts on the Children in Need 2023 special. I'd like to know what you think, so comment down below and let me know. Don't forget to click the like button and the subscribe button. I have all sorts of stuff down in the description, links to the Patreon, YouTube memberships are available, my P.O. box if there's anything you'd like to send me to look at and review. Links to the Amazon wish list and the Amazon UK wish list are down there as well. I want to give a shout out to some of my top tier patrons, Stephen Crane, Colin Coney, and Finn Perkins. I appreciate their support as I do the support of all of my patrons. It does make a difference. And most importantly, thank you for watching.